You will understand the backstory of the shocking $16 million court decision we faced regarding Payne and why he might be playing his last season with us. But it doesn't stop there. We will dive into the possibility of Deebo Samuel being welcomed back to the 49ers by a former teammate, revealing the details of this potential reunion. And there's more. You will understand why we are in danger of a brutal free agency, but with $76 million in salary cap to change everything. And to wrap up, you will hear the wise advice Jayden Daniels received about comparisons to Lamar Jackson and why he is focused on a spectacular third year. Stay tuned until the end, because every detail is crucial for the future of the Commanders. The Washington Commanders will have to make a decision soon regarding the future of defensive tackle Payne, and this is a situation that leaves me anxious as a fan. Payne will become a free agent in 2027, but the Commanders could save a significant amount of money if they cut him this year. ESPN journalist John Keim analyzed Payne's situation as a free agent, bringing important details. Payne has one more year left on his contract and will cost $28 million to the salary cap next season. That's the fourth largest cap hit for a defensive tackle and quite a bit for a player with only one Pro Bowl selection in 2022 and no All-Pro selections in his career, wrote Keim, highlighting the high cost-effectiveness. But the Commanders were pleased with his performance in 2025. Several offensive coaches who faced Washington's defense said their biggest concern before games against Washington was Payne and the performance of the Commanders' interior defensive line. Keim continued, showing that he is still respected. There's a concrete chance, according to a team source, that Washington will allow Payne to play the final year of his contract rather than extending it and reducing his impact on the salary cap. Furthermore, if he is cut, Payne would save $16.8 million for Washington, the same amount it would cost to replace him, Keim added. If they choose to keep him at that cost, it could pressure Payne to secure a multi-year contract next offseason. And if he leaves after 2026, Washington would be entitled to a compensatory draft pick in 2027, Keim concluded. Payne may become a free agent for the Commanders, and that is a reality we need to face. Payne, 28, made 46 tackles last season for the Commanders. He also contributed 3 sacks and 5 passes defended, numbers that, while not spectacular, show his presence. Payne can be an important player for the Commanders' defense, but knowing how much the team could save by cutting him, the idea of moving on has likely crossed the mind of general manager Adam Peters. It remains to be seen what the best course of action will be for the Commanders, but everything indicates that we will have an off-season of changes. Payne may be looking for a new team for the first time in his career, and as a fan, I wish him the best, whether here or elsewhere. And now get ready for a potential reunion. You will find out how Deebo Samuel could be welcomed back to the 49ers by a former teammate, and why this change would make perfect sense for him and the San Francisco team. Deebo Samuel will become a free agent in about a month, as his contract with the Washington Commanders is about to expire. After the trade that brought him to Washington, the Commanders restructured his contract to a 1-year deal, valid for the 2025 season, with no guaranteed payment for 2026. This leaves Washington with an imminent and difficult decision. Should they hold onto one of the few positive highlights of this season, or let Samuel go and find a new team elsewhere? A familiar option in San Francisco has already shown interest in welcoming him back. Samuel's former teammate Christian McCaffrey would warmly welcome a return to the San Francisco Bay Area, and that is a clear sign. In a recent episode of the podcast Up and Adams, McCaffrey was asked about the possibility of Samuel returning to San Francisco. According to McCaffrey, there is no doubt that Samuel would be welcomed back to the team. Deebo is one of my favorite guys I've ever played with, McCaffrey said enthusiastically. Well, we all love Deebo. Our entire coaching staff loves Deebo. All the players on the team love Deebo. There's no doubt he would be very welcomed back, McCaffrey continued, showing the affection the team has for him. A skill set that can be utilized anywhere is what Samuel offers. A reunion could make sense if the Commanders decide to part ways with the veteran, especially since the 49ers are expected to be active in the wide receiver market this offseason. Jawan Jennings and Kendrick Bourne are about to become free agents, and Brandon Ayuk is widely considered likely to leave, opening up space. If Samuel were to return to San Francisco, the adjustment would be familiar and effective as he knows the system. He has an incredible energy, McCaffrey said. When he has the ball in his hands, you can see the fear in defenses. He was a key piece in our offense because you can throw the ball to him in so many different ways. He is like a utility player on offense in many ways, McCaffrey added. You can throw the ball to him in so many ways. He can catch the ball, he can run with the ball, he can run any route in the playbook, and if you try to tackle him, there will be consequences. He's just a great player to have on the team. Washington is carefully evaluating its options. The Commanders utilized Samuel in a very similar manner this season, trying to maximize his talent. He was positioned in various spots on offense, in the slot, out wide, and even in the backfield. Cliff Kingsbury used him on jet sweep plays, short passes, and quick throws. Regardless of whether Samuel remains in Washington or returns to San Francisco, his value remains evident. The Commanders' decision boils down to whether they see Samuel as a key piece for the future or as a temporary solution that is not worth the investment. And now, brace yourself for the bare truth. You will understand why we are in danger of a brutal free agency, but with $76 million in cap space to turn everything around and avoid disaster. The Washington Commanders are entering a free agency period and need to restructure their roster, which is currently precariously assembled. The Commanders have many players with contracts set to expire, and the team needs to decide whether to re-sign them or seek reinforcements for the upcoming season. Matt Okada, a columnist for NFL.com, listed the Commanders as one of the teams that will struggle the most with competition in free agency. The Commanders also received an honorable mention in last year's edition of this article, with what seemed to be their entire veteran core of defense at risk of leaving. In the end, that defense fell from the middle of the pack in 2024 to 27th in points allowed and last in yards permitted in 2025, Okada wrote, showing the drastic decline. And with the pressure increases again this March, as Washington has 33 players with contracts nearing expiration, tied for second place with the Jets, with a combined salary cap average of $104.4 million, the second highest in the league. This list includes defensive captain Bobby Wagner, starting guard Chris Paul, and 2025's top receiver Deebo Samuel, Okada continued. Yeah, the only reason Washington enters the honorable mention section instead of being among the top 7 is that it has $76 million in salary cap space, the 5th highest in the league, Okada concluded. The Commanders have moves to make this offseason and need to be smart. The Commanders have shown great intelligence since general manager Adam Peters, who had been on the job for years, arrived in the nation's capital 2 years ago. After a successful campaign in 2024, the Commanders extended the contracts of several players who became free agents, hoping to repeat the success of the season that led them to the NFC title. Unfortunately, injuries devastated the roster and hindered their development irreversibly. Now the Commanders are forced to find a way to rebuild the team from scratch, and that requires a solid plan. If the Commanders make the right choices in the free agency market this offseason, they will have the chance to make a strong return to the NFC playoff race. And now, to close with a flourish, the wisdom revealed. You will hear the wise advice that Jayden Daniels received from Josh Johnson about the comparisons to Lamar Jackson and why he is focused on a spectacular third year to prove his worth. In today's NFL landscape, it's not just about what you are doing, but about what someone like you is doing. That's why Washington Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels has been compared to several others, including Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. While both are special talents, they are not the same, and Daniels recently revealed that veteran quarterback Josh Johnson made sure to remind him of that. L is L, and you are you, was Johnson's straightforward advice. L is L, and at the end of the day, you are you, Johnson told Daniels, a statement that the young quarterback shared with CBS Sports during the week leading up to the Super Bowl. Johnson, who played with Jackson on the Ravens before returning to the Commanders last offseason, added, "Don't get caught up in comparisons and things like that. What that man does is special. What you do is special," Johnson continued, reinforcing Daniels' individuality. Daniels recounts that Johnson advised him to focus on his own game and reminded him, in behind-the-scenes conversations, that the quarterback was still at the start of his career. That knowledge, gained over years playing for 100 teams, Daniels joked. That knowledge is one of the things Johnson brought with him to Washington as a free agent in 2025. Along with veteran Marcus Mariota, Daniels says the two have helped him greatly to overcome what was undoubtedly the toughest season of his on-field career. Overcoming the adversities of year 2 is Daniels' goal. At some point, all greats have gone through adversities, had a bad year, had ups and downs, and at the end of the day, that's how life works, Daniels said. And being able to learn from quarterbacks who have already paved the way that he is just beginning, he says, has been an incredible tool to help him stay focused where he needs to be. The right place for him, even while participating in the Super Bowl celebrations in San Francisco, California, is in 2026, ensuring that the third year is far superior to the second year for him and his teammates on the Commanders. With an eye on 2026 and a return to the playoffs at home is the big goal. Daniels told CBS Sports that he is focused on recovering for the next season and is eager to return to play in front of the Washington crowd in 8 or 9 home games. The Commanders are expected to host an international game in 2026, which means one regular season home game will be canceled. But if Daniels can help Washington get back on the path to the playoffs that they were on in 2024, perhaps that home game could be offset by a playoff game at Northwest Stadium. It would be the first home playoff game for the Burgundy and Gold team since the 2020 NFL playoffs, and as a fan, I can hardly wait for that. So, fan, after finding out that we are facing a $16 million decision on Payne that could lead to him leaving, Understanding that Deebo Samuel may return to the 49ers and be welcomed with open arms by McCaffrey, knowing that we are in danger of a brutal free agency, but have $76 million to spend, and hearing the wise advice from Josh Johnson to Jaden Daniels about comparisons to Lamar, which of these situations makes you most hopeful for 2026?